Hello everyone, my name is the Phawx. Let me introduce you to the GPD XD2. This is GPD's latest Android gaming handheld. For those that are wondering what happened to the previous GPD X7, well, it's been cancelled. Is there a possibility that even this model will be cancelled? I mean, yeah. Look, here's the deal. The XD2 has had numerous concepts come and go in the years. There was the slider design from the long ago, there was the recent X7 concept, and now we are at the latest concept. So a lot of you will have seen this photo floating around. For all intents and purposes, this is still going to be relatively accurate, but you guys didn't get a chance to see how thick this mock-up is. Now, before I show it here, I want to stress here, this is the old mock-up. I will show you in this video the thinner render. However, let's take a look at this chunker and comment on what's going on here. So we can see on the left-hand side of the controller, it's always connected. You'll always have the left analog and the left D-pad. Once again, we can see that GPD is using the Vita-inspired D-pad, and this is going to continue to be the trend going forward. Wink, wink. We see what looks to be a ginormous display, and I'll reveal that in a moment. But obviously, what should catch everyone's eye here is that modular right controller. Currently, there are two options. You can connect the more traditional controller, which will have the right analog stick and face buttons, basically making it into a standard handheld. However, what GPD is trying to do here is offer a solution and controller add-on specifically for MOBA or other popular Android games. One thing worth looking at here is the red nub at the top is a joystick of sorts, and then there are a row of buttons. Again, worth pointing out here is that whenever you swap out these controller modules, that the onboard software is aware of that and changes to reflect that swap. Alright, so we talked about what's on display with just this front-facing image. Let's see how thick this concept is. My initial impression of seeing this concept was that it felt like the 90s and having those chunky Game Gear, Atari Lynx, or Turbo Express. Giving that feedback, GPD did say that they did have a thinner version being developed, and they have supplied me the renders, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. The only other thing worth addressing here is that the controller modules have different trigger buttons. Here you can see the traditional controller design, and then the mobile module trigger buttons.
Girl, you're thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
Now that we can see these thinner render designs, you can actually take a look and compare the two of them. You can also see what looks like older exhaust ports that are no longer present in the thinner version. Overall, I think that the render gives a better impression of how thin this is going to get, although it still will be a bit thick, just not nearly as thick as it once was in this mock-up. Let's talk about specs. Now, I do have some of the specs for the GPD X2, and I suppose now is a good time as any to talk about them. Before we get into it, there are a few solid specs here that I don't believe will move too much, like the system on a chip or screen size. However, battery size might change, and I'm not even going to list RAM or storage at the moment because those are most likely going to change. So just hang tight and wait for a follow-up video like I usually do. First and obviously most important, GPD is using the MediaTek Helio P90 SoC. The big standout here is we're finally getting two A75 cores. The PowerVR GM9446 GPU is a bit of a question mark. Will we be able to download and use early access drivers from PowerVR easily, and will they benefit us? Or will we be locked down and having to rob from other similar devices as time goes on? It remains to be seen. Performance-wise, you should expect something a bit better than Snapdragon 710. So expect a bit better than the Mochi i7S. Thankfully, GPD is planning on including a heatsink and fan that will be over this SoC, so GPD is interested in keeping this cool. The screen size is 6.8 inches, resolution will be revealed in a follow-up video, and the current battery size is 6,000 mAh, close to 22 watt-hours. Anywho, that's it. This is the current GPD XD2 concept. As I get more information, I'll be sure to let you know. As always, guys, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.